Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to Prattville City Council Tuesday, December the 1st, 2015. City Council meeting. We do have a public hearing tonight. We have two items for public hearing. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilor Striplin. Here. Councilor Wood.
Here.
Councilor Brown. Here. Councilor Starnes.
Here.
Councilor Whiteside.
Here.
Councilor Bowles. Here. Councilor Booth.
Here.
Call this public hearing to order. We have two items. Our first item is an ordinance to adopt a proposed amendment to Article 4, Section 43, reapplication of the City of Prattville zoning ordinance. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this ordinance? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed on item number 1. Number 2 is an ordinance to adopt a proposed amendment to Article 6, Section 63, swimming and wading pools of the City of Prattville zoning ordinance. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this ordinance? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. I ask that you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag and remain standing for invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious God, we come as humble as we know how. Lord, tonight we want to say thank you for being so good and gracious to each and every one of us. Thank you, Lord, for forgiving us for our sins and honoring us as your children. Now, Lord, as we assemble here tonight, we thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us. Now guide our tongue, guide our mind as we conduct the business of this city. We pray, Lord, for those individuals who are assembled here in Montgomery, Alabama, celebrating the 6th anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott. Be with them, O Lord, and be with all of us as we continue to make progress. We give you the glory, we give you the honor, and we give you the praise. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilor Striplin. Here. Councilor Wood.
Here.
Councilor Brown. Here. Councilor Starnes.
Here.
Councilor Whiteside.
Here.
Councilor Bowles.
Here.
Councilor Booth.
Here.
Our character trait of the month is compassion, investing whatever is necessary to heal the hurts of others. Good character trait. We ask now that we have approval of the minutes, City Council meeting November 17, 2015. We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of approval signify by raising your right hand. And those minutes have been approved. At this time, we're going to ask for comments from persons present regarding tonight's agenda. If you'd like to speak on any item on tonight's agenda, please raise your hand. Yes, ma'am. Please come to the microphone.
My name is John Lee Finnegan. I live at 211 Deer Trace. I'm speaking on resolution number 3 about the 549 garbage cans that are being voted on tonight. And Councilor Striplin was able to answer some of the questions, and I wasn't able to get other questions answered. What I'm trying to find out is it said that there's a need for the 95-gallon garbage cans. What area is this needed?
I'm going to refer you to the administration on that, if he has that answer. If he has it, if not.
I'd be glad to take that question. Yes, ma'am. It's pretty much it reaches out to each and every district.
I'm sorry, what?
It will reach out to each and every district. I'm pretty much certain on that. There's various needs in each
Like
and
what
every district.
districts? I mean, like what subdivisions, et cetera?
If you'd like to get with my assistant and get with me, I'll be glad to answer that question.
Okay. How will these people know that they're using cans then? I mean, like, I don't know if it's my district or whatever. How were they informed of this, and did they all agree to it?
Everybody that has a can knows about it and has agreed to it. Public Works has done a great job of working with the public and getting cans out to the people that have the needs for them, whether it's need of a new can because of replacement for various reasons or not. But they're doing a great job of that.
Well, that really still didn't answer the question. There were 549 being offered. How is that going to be divided up? Because there was that big brouhaha, in 2009 about the
Well,
farming it out.
the city itself will have some need, the city entity itself. And then you'll have also some individuals, I'm certain. But some of these will go into stock because you do have some that get damaged for various reasons over a period of time.
But
The cans are
like, what areas are we talking about? What I'm saying is it subdivisions like Glenbrook, my division, Silver Hills, etc.? Because I haven't seen anything about it, and all of a sudden we're starting to do cans.
We've actually been doing cans. We've had a dual system. Might need to help me out since 2010. 2010. And the city itself has been utilizing cans
But where?
shortly after that.
Where is what I'm trying to find out.
Stanley Jensen, Pratt Park, for some areas.
549 of them?
If you'd like to get with Teresa Lee, I'd be glad to sit down and try to have a map put up with you, and get with Dale Gandy.
Will there be cans used in subdivisions, so I can understand the necessity, but you're voting on 549, and also in the sanitation enterprise fund budget, it says 1,000 cans.
The city does have various needs, and we do already have subdivisions that are already using cans. Burton Manor might be one, Winfield might be another one.
But if they're already using them, then they don't need the cans.
They do get damaged from time to time. But there again, if you'd like to get with us, we'll be glad to get you in and all that information.
Ms. Finnegan, if you don't mind, if you try to interject.
I try to get answers, but one day doesn't give me enough time.
Yeah, well.
And I feel this is very ambiguous. It's not really answering the question. And the reason I'm here is so that it's on camera for people to hear that can't attend the meeting. And that's the reason I come up with these questions. Believe me, I try to get answers before I come up here.
Ms. Finnegan, if you're asking for names and addresses,
No,
you're not going
I
to get those.
want
You're not going to
I
get that.
want neighborhoods. If it's neighborhoods, because again, I go back to 2009 when this council chamber was full of protesting on the use of cans and also privatizing, which we aren't. We also will need our I know we just ordered $1 million something in sanitation equipment, and it just seems like, as I said, this is the first time I'd heard about this, and there's been no media coverage or anything. It'll be after the fact, which doesn't work. And then, like I said, when I see in the budget that there's 1,000 cans budgeted for, that sounds like we're just adding. And Councilor Strickland said when they use the 549, that will be 10.4% of the population. Well, if you have another 451 to do, what is the percentage that's going to be on reserve? Or what is the percentage that's going to be right in? That's all I'm asking. Because this has been a real sore point with people.
There again, if you'd like to get with my office, I'll be glad to sit down with you, block off whether you want 1 hour, 4 hours.
Well, can I come back up and then talk about that also? As I said, I don't want it hidden. I want it out in the public.
Ms. Finnegan,
I'm sorry, yes. I'm very frustrated.
Yeah, if you would just address the council, and if we can't answer it, if the administration says
So they haven't told you either then, is what you're saying?
No, there are selected areas that will be selected. We don't have the list before us, but there are selected areas. At this time, we do have a dual system. Some people have cans, some people still are getting bags.
But
That's been going on.
Getting more, so that means that more areas are going to be used. And so you don't have the areas?
We don't have the areas right now.
And yet you're going to vote on them?
Yes, ma'am. We're going to have some cans, even if we're replacing cans. There are areas that need the cans, even if some are being replaced. Yes.
Ms. Finnegan, I
Yes.
personally have a can.
I beg your pardon?
I said I have a can at my residence because
Oh, I know you do.
because I requested one because of the situation I live in. But a lot of people on 31, we're getting more and more residents in these particular situations that are requesting the cans as they see them. And so when I'm getting the phone call as a council person, I try to accommodate these special needs. We have to have the cans. In the near future, I would love to see all of Silver Hills have them because 90% of the people in Silver Hills want them. I get 10 times more people saying they want them than they don't want them. Business owners want them
Well, of course business owners would want them.
because we don't have a place to put our garbage, but we still we're paying for garbage pickup. So these are why we're buying these cans for the people that are calling and asking.
Okay, so the people that don't want them don't have to have them.
No, we haven't voted on making everybody have cans.
Well-
We don't know, there's only two of us that were in this thing. 3 of us when that blew up. But we are getting more and more requests for cans, just like my particular situation where my house is, because it's 1,000 feet from
know
my
it is.
house to the road.
I know it is.
So it works out really good to have a can by down there by my fence that I can put my garbage in and just simply roll it out because I have raccoons and possums and a million other critters that tear up my garbage. We are a city that tries to accommodate our citizens. To do so, we have to have the reserves because right now we have no cans.
Okay, I
So that's
understand
why,
that. I
okay?
understand that.
Mr.
What would
President.
be the policing of that, if I may ask, if you get the cans, because just like, in fact, I had to call Mr. Gandy about someone in my neighborhood that had left garbage out that was completely chewed up, but they had left it out, 4 days before the pickup. Well, it goes with the cans, and there's just a lot involved, and I just think before everything's voted on, that the public should be informed and know about this. I mean, you're telling me you don't know where the areas are.
Ms.
and
Finnegan,
you're voting
there
after the
are
fact.
so many things. We vote to buy probably 10 or 15 police cars a while back.
Oh, I know you
The
did.
public did not know until we voted on it.
But police cars are different from cans in my mind.
Well, it is an administration, and I'm going to ask that you get with the administration if he can give you the selected areas, but as soon as possible, we will know exactly where these cans are going.
Okay.
Okay?
And will this be, I hope this will be in the paper, because a lot of times the full discussion that's with the council is not put in the paper, so at least people will have some media coverage.
Ms. Finnegan, please trust me, we would not want to spend money on garbage can unless there was a need. There's a lot of other areas that we could be spending this money in.
When will the other 451 be ordered, do you know? Because the 1,000 is on the budget, and you're only ordering 549, and Councilor Strickland said you get a big deal of like $2 for each can if you order a truckload. Well, now that's going to kind of be an off amount.
Ms.
I mean,
Finnegan,
why would you put 1,000 in there? You voted on the budget.
that's not before us tonight, though.
It's already been voted on.
It's in the budget, but that portion is not before us, so we're going to deal with the portion that's before us tonight, and then at some time, I'm sure we'll deal with the other. We may not deal with them. There's some things that we may not deal with in that budget, not just cans. So, but we're going to deal with this issue tonight, and hopefully, the selected areas, the people who are getting those cans are getting the ones replaced. They will be notified.
Okay, and the people that do not want them will not have to take them.
This is not a mandate.
Okay. Yeah,
If that's
for the
what you wanna
record,
hear.
It's not a mandate.
No.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mayor?
Yes, sir. If I might, as usual, ask for a point of privilege.
Yes, sir.
Ask our guests to come up and talk about our master parks plan. Our parks master plan.
Thank you. I'm Chris Camp, and I'm president of Lozen Associates, and this is Mary Vavra, who is our project manager on the master plan, and we're going to give you a presentation of the work that we started a little over 6 months ago. But this is your capital improvements plan. findings and then answer any questions that you might have. Our planning process started. We interviewed many of you. We interviewed staff, stakeholders, held public meetings, presented the preliminary findings, and then we're here tonight to present the final master plan. As you can see, there are the input meetings that we conducted, and we had really good turnout. We had almost 100 people at one of the public meetings. We looked at your community profile, age, income levels, things like that to help us look at what your recreation programming needs would be. Looked at your obesity rate, compared it to the state and the county. We didn't have city data on this, but we were able to look at your city spreads out over the 2 counties. And you're actually a little better than the state, but a little higher than the national average there. And our concern there is the childhood diabetic problems that are associated with obesity. But we held a steering committee workshop, and as you can see, we had a good turnout for that workshop. And at that workshop, they came up with the programs that, number one was water-based activities, taking advantage of the river and doing more there, hiking and biking, tennis, creekside events. And on the facility side, there was a lot of discussion about having a large community indoor space that's larger than your civic center now. And you know, we heard the whole story about how you can't have a high school graduation here in town and things like that at the workshop. But an indoor multi-purpose sports gym, tournament facility, aquatics facilities, improved Doster Center and Pratt Park, and then even a marina was discussed at the workshop as something. People talked about the fishing tournaments that you have here in Prattville. And of course, we took that information, and here's a shot at the public meeting, and as you can see, the consensus was there is a lot of needs here in the community. And I'm going to have Mary talk about the survey. We did an online survey, and we're going to just highlight some of the top items.
So we had about 733 people log in to take the survey, which is a great response rate. And here's just one of the questions that we have. I'll just run through a couple of them. But this one shows, we basically ask people a list of things. Do you agree, disagree, or do not know? And I wanted to point out one in particular, this next one, that we asked people, compared to other priorities such as public safety, streets, utilities, do you feel like parks and recreation is important? And as you can see from the results, 90% said they feel that parks and recreation are just as important as schools, fire and police protection. Another thing we asked is we had a long list of different activities for youth and both adult, and I'll just highlight the top ones that we asked what you're currently participating in and what you would like to participate in. So you can see the top 5 from both of those. A lot of youth participating in baseball leagues now. That you can see what you would like to, and there's a huge support for archery, swim team, skateboarding, as well as sports camps and football. For adults in this list, we find what would you like to participate in is top were kayaking. You see in the picture above the person kayaking, and then outdoor fitness classes and kickball leagues, actually, top 3. And then top 5 special event and classes, we found a lot of people participating in events like the 5Ks and Touch a Truck, which is a great opportunity for kids to go up and see fire engines. And you see a lot of participation in that, but they're also very interested in canoeing classes, again, coming up top, adventure trips, that'd be good in the winter months, then zip lining, art classes, and cooking classes, rounding out the top 5. Another questions we asked about access to parks, and we said, you know, if it was safe to bike or walk to a park, would you? And you can see overwhelming support for, you've got 78% indicated that they would walk some distance if it was a safe route to a park, as well as 69 for biking. And so that just tells us that with those type of facilities, people will use them. And we did find throughout the survey support for trails. We also provided a list of different projects, and we asked people to order those in preference. What would you like to see? And the number 1 being investment in the downtown park improvements, renovating Doster, Pratt Park, improvements to the creek and trail. You can see a civic center, auditorium, go through all these because they're in the full report, but I just want to highlight these important ones. This is another question we asked. We asked you to list what you think is much needed, somewhat needed, and again, we're just trying to find out what projects are a priority for the community, which will make your job easier, hopefully, in supporting those. So you can see number one, and let me just flip to this next slide. It summarizes that question. The top 5 were new restroom buildings at parks. Overwhelmingly, that was supported. And then second, paved trails, sports fields third. You see large indoor facility fourth, tying with expanding canoeing and kayaking. And then fifth was the playgrounds. So how should we pay for it? Excellent question to ask in a survey. And so we asked in a couple of different ways. So one was about funding and how do you see this being funded? And so one was, we see top support for, kind of a pay-as-you-go approach, and we understand that. And then also you see next with almost 28%, having a municipal bond, so that you see the improvements and then you pay back over time. And then next you see combined bonds with tax increase. And in the report, in the full report, we summarize this, but the real takeaway from this slide is seeing that only less than 5% said no funding. That we feel our parks are fine. So I think that that's the real telling point. We also asked, well, what would you be willing to spend per household? We know with the YMCA, there's a fee to join, and so what would you be willing to spend? We see 74% willing to pay something. Majority less than $15, but only 26% said no support. So with that, I want to turn it back over to Chris. He's going to talk about some of the programming recommendations that we have.
Well, as you can see from the survey findings, and I hope when you get a chance to review the entire report, the depth of the survey, but from that in the questions, the Creekside events, you lost me there, Mary.
I was hoping I would be able to fix that so you could use the clicker there. Pardon me. There's always got to be a technical difficulty, especially when there we go.
But Creekside activities came up in almost every forum that people are really getting back to the water. The need for a portage when you come downstream and get to the Mill Lake, a place to actually take your canoe out, get around the mill, put it back in the water. Actually classes, teach me how to canoe, teach me how to kayak. So things like that. A lot of individual-based walking, running programs. A lot of communities that have greenway systems now are sort of sponsoring walking clubs and running clubs. You don't really have to program it. It doesn't take a staff person. It's just getting it organized so that people know if I go to the trail at 8 o'clock, there'll be a group where I don't have to walk by myself, for particularly seniors and women don't like to walk by themselves. So organizing those type of activities. Definitely expanding your adult programs, arts, cooking, also, kickball and other things, but you're pushed for field time. So there's a conflict there. You don't have enough fields right now to really handle the youth soccer program, but how can you develop an adult program if you don't have enough fields for your youth program? And a lot of kids, I'm 55, so I grew up doing the baseball, basketball, football thing. Well, now kids are playing soccer and lacrosse, all which take field time, and they're doing that into adulthood. I played in an adult basketball league till I was in my mid-30s, and the same is true for people who grew up playing soccer their whole life. So that's an issue and a challenge. Continuing to work with the Y to expand your swim team. Archery programs for youth is one of the fastest growing activities for parks and recreation agencies across the country. And just more programs and events. Everybody loves the community activities you do at Pratt, but they also say we need to improve Pratt. We need a new big central pavilion. We need, the grass, and it's overwhelming when it fills up with people. So we need more space down there. And then medium priority, maybe some outdoor fitness programs and zip lining, skateboarding, the sports camps. And in general, when it comes to programming, don't merely be a facilitator, and that is provide maintenance at facilities and let the youth organizations do all of the management. You've got to have a role in how those fields are programmed in order to maximize those. Practice space, making sure practice space is safe. Revisit some of your contracts and rental agreements. We think some of your rental rates are extremely low and could afford to be increased to help with your revenue generation. And track program participation. So at the end of every program, you do a survey. Did you like the program? Were you happy with the coaching? Were you happy with the condition of the fields? How about, practice? Find out how effective that program is important. We went to every park. Mary and I personally visited every park, walked in every park. I think we couldn't find one, but when we finally found it, it was undeveloped. It was undeveloped property, so that's why we kept driving by. But, facility maintenance is your big thing. You're going to see in a minute a number, $13 million or $14 million in deferred maintenance. That's everything from roofs to fencing, replacing sidewalks. We actually had a gentleman in a wheelchair that specifically came to the public meeting to say that he tipped over in one of the parks because of the sidewalk condition. So there are things like that you really need to address, because your swimming pool was built in the 70s. The Doster Center was done in the early 80s. The girls' Miller Park is probably done in the 60s. And then your newest facility where the boys play baseball was done in the early 90s. So most of your facilities are over 25 years old and haven't been renovated. So that's a big issue, because all of those things that are on that list right there are really tied to maintenance. So we charted out your existing parks to see where they were located, and this is what we call a gap analysis. And you can see the smaller circles. Those are neighborhood parks, which serve a half mile. Then these are your community parks, which have a 2-mile service radius. And then the ones in yellow are mini parks and have a 1/4-mile service area. If you see the gray color, the gray gradation of your city, the highest population densities are in this part of your city over here, and you see there's not a community park to serve this area of the city. You've got pretty good service and overlap here in the central part, but out here in the west where you're growing, you don't have any parks. Over here along the interstate, very few parks. And so that's an area that we are recommending that you infill with parks in the future. Looking at your park acreage against national standards, you see here you're 51 acres short, 13 tennis courts short, 4 baseball fields, 5 soccer fields. So if we look solely at what you're providing as the city, you've got quite a few deficits. Because the Y is active here as well, we looked at their facilities as well, and it did bring your park acreage down from 51 to 29, and it evens you out on like soccer fields and all. But again, that's depending on using facilities that are fee-based, and not available to the general public to walk up without a daily fee at a minimum. So we mapped, we worked with your staff and developed some greenway corridors that we think are extremely developable. You've got a lot of water-based trails. The levee that runs along the Tuga is perfect for a greenway. It's already got a gravel base. It's just a matter of putting an asphalt top on it to have a trail there. We looked at a new neighborhood park up on the north side. We looked at a new community park between your 2 major interchanges, because that park, we think, with sports fields would help bring tournaments to town, and put it right between the hotels. I mean, put it in the area where you can take advantage of the hotel traffic. You've got Matt Gray Park and some extra property, but in working with staff, they're like, we can't get people there. The roads could not handle major tournaments on that side of the city. So doing it between your 2 interchanges is what we're recommending. And in the future, as the west builds out a community park and a neighborhood park out here on the west side, all which can be connected with the greenways. So this is what your gap analysis would look like with the addition of those parks. This high-density population area you see now is completely served between the service area of the greenways, a new neighborhood, and a new community park. You have solved that service area need. And again, that's there and up on the north side are your fastest growing areas for multifamily as well as single family subdivisions developing here in Prattville. So we did tiered priorities. One, develop the funding mechanism, and I'm going to give you a recommendation on what I think you should do. But before you can start to address your deferred maintenance and new capital facilities, you have to decide on how you're going to fund it. So then you get that in order. Start working on the old playgrounds and sidewalks to bring your access to your park facilities up to par. A plan to begin restroom replacements and prioritize those, because you shouldn't feel alone. In almost every city we work where you have older park facilities, replacing the restrooms is number one on the list. So you shouldn't feel like you're alone there. Work with the school system to develop a long-range plan to renovate the stadium and irrigate your sports fields so you can have improved turf, more playability. And some of those are low-hanging fruit, and some will take a little more time to implement. Well, this is just our entire list, so again, we're going to hand that out, so I won't run down all of those. But it does include acquiring some new parkland. And then the middle tier, which is years 3 through 5, is completing the restroom, replacements, developing or doing park renovations at North Highland, Newton, and the stadium. Begin and complete construction of a new community park. Complete your ADA and playground transition plan. The ADA is you need to develop a transition plan which prioritizes how you're going to attack all of those issues. And then acquire property on the north side for a neighborhood park. And then these are your longer term, just continuing your greenway development, continuing your park renovations, developing Mill Lake Park with a large outdoor event space. Develop a marina feasibility study. A lot of public agencies, parks and rec departments, and sometimes marinas are set up like a golf course as an enterprise fund, but you don't do the build it and they'll come approach for a marina. You hire an expert to do a marina feasibility study and tell you if at Cooter's Pond you could have a 200 slip marina and it would cover its cost. You could have a 300 slip marina, and if it's going to cover its cost and generate revenue, then it might be worth setting up a bond to do that, because you could attract more fishing tournaments, more pleasure boating. The day we were out there, that ramp is very active. I mean, there are both pleasure boaters and fishermen using that ramp, and you've got a decent floating, courtesy dock down there now, but that's not the same as having a full-blown marina. So, deferred maintenance. These are just a few shots of the fencing and the pathways and the building conditions. So, from our site visits, we identified $14.9 million in deferred maintenance, but again, you're dealing with facilities built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So, and we're about to hit 2016. Then to fund the new facilities that people requested was another $24 million that we estimated. So what would that average out over 10 years, and how would you do that? Well, it averages just under $4 million. It's $253 per capita. It's a per household spending of $724, or a monthly per household expense of $60. Now, that is if you only paid for it based on some type of residential millage increase. Keep in mind, you've got a lot of other revenue streams besides just household taxes. So you take that $60 and you start to add your hotel motel tax, you start to add sales tax, you start to add commercial and other property taxes, and now we're starting to get closer to that $15 and $20 per month that the survey told us. 44% said $15, and then we had all the way up to 74%. Some of them were willing to spend $75 to $100 per month. So you find a happy median, and you could fund this program. So we looked at other communities to see what they were spending, so you would see how you compare. And as you see, as a percentage of your total budget, you're 2.9%. You can see Coleman at 20, Dothan at 8.5, Opelika at 12.8, Auburn at 4.9. And we did 2 gold medal cities. Those are the highest rated departments. They won an award from NRPA, which is the National Recreation and Parks Association, as the best agency in the country in 2014 and 2015. And you see they're spending about 15% of their total budget on parks and recreation. Per capita spending, again, you see where you are. You can see Coleman, Dothan, significantly higher, Auburn, all significantly higher. So they're not, part of that is they're not letting that deferred maintenance build up. They are spending money to help, reinvest in their parks, which is what I call your green infrastructure. We all think about roads, water, sewer, but you also have green infrastructure as a city, and you can see what it takes to keep that up. And what was most surprising to us was your household income is much higher than a lot of the other communities, which are investing a much higher percentage back into their park system. So where do you begin? Well, you must change how Parks and Recreation receive funding compared to your other city departments. At 2.9%, you're not going to be able to catch up, reinvest, build new facilities. And investing in parks must be viewed as a community investment. It really is a community investment. There's a lot of studies now that have been published that the impact of a good park system has on property values, as much as 20 to 30% increase if you live near a park, a well-maintained park, in property values. If you live along a greenway, increases in property values. So it's not a luxury. It is an investment, a reinvestment back into your community. Staffing levels would have to be increased if you are going to expand programs and properly maintain your new park investments and increase program opportunities, because really your people, when you look at the survey, they're saying we would like to do these things. Well, you have to have somebody to set up those programs, run those community events, clean up after those community events. When we talk to park maintenance staff, we say, well, what's one of your big events? In a lot of communities, it's the 4th of July. And we say to the maintenance staff, well, how does that impact you? And they say, well, we don't get any of our normal work done for a week because we're moving bleachers, we're setting up trash cans, we're cleaning up everything, we're getting the barricades out so the police can move them and block off the streets for the parade. So the grass doesn't get mowed for a week. Well, so if you expand your community events, which people love, just keep in mind either you need to contract out some of the setup and cleanup, or you will have to have more staff. The department needs to be more engaged with community, more entrepreneurial, asking them what they want, but saying, okay, we can provide that, but it's going to cost a fee of this. And a lot of parks departments now are generating anywhere from 35 to 50% of their total operating budget. Not their capital, but their operating, because their fees and charges are reflective of the amount of money it costs to run those programs or rent a facility. And I must say that new screen you have down at the Doster Center is wonderful. When we did our last public meeting, the screen's as big as the wall behind you, and you can see it really well. That was a nice addition. You need to update your operating and maintenance policies. More staff training and education opportunities are needed. And again, community engagement. Don't stop after this master plan. Keep asking questions. Keep doing surveys. You can do short online surveys about any park topic that you want. So how would you do it? How would you fund it? Well, I worked with your staff to find out what your millage rate is and what your income streams are. You're getting about $250,000 a year out of your new hotel motel tax. Compared to $14 million in deferred maintenance, that's not going to be enough. A millage increase of 2 mills would generate $600,000 to $700,000 annually. If you would reallocate $1 million from your current revenue stream, that would give you right at $2 million per year to pay off a bond. And that bond could be used to accelerate the renovations and bathroom replacements, even building some new parks. So you're talking, and geez, that millage 2 mil rate increase is only a few $100s annually on a home of $200,000. So we're talking something in the neighborhood, and I've got it written in the report. I can't remember now, but less than $10 to $15 per month. If you'll reallocate $1 million from your current income stream, take your hotel motel tax, and a 2 mil increase, you can fund this $45 million program. You could fund a bond and do the entire program over a 10-year period. And you would need to do some upfront work and prioritize. We've given you priorities, but they have to be the council's priorities as far as projects. So we've given you the survey responses. And let me say, with a sampling of over 700 residents, that is a 95% or higher accuracy. We only needed 300, about 350 to have a 95 percentile. So we got almost twice as many. So from a sampling standpoint, you can read those survey responses and know that is what your community is telling you they really want to do. So this is, at the public meeting, you can see we put this up. But we also, this is important, we took the bond program, and this was a smaller meeting, but we said, do you want to vote? A vote yes meant they wanted to fund the entire program that I just described with the bond program, the millage increase, and we had 16 yes votes at that public meeting and only 1 no vote at the public meeting. And the no vote meant we had selected just a few projects, $3.5 to $4 million worth of projects. So we asked the question, do you want to just spend $3 or $4 million, or do you want to fund this whole program? And again, it's 16 to 1. So I believe you have community support to do something to improve your Parks and Rec opportunities and facilities here in Prattville. And with that, we'll take questions.
Thank you. Any council member have any questions from Mr. Kemp? Great job.
Okay, and we've really enjoyed learning about your community and working in your community. And yeah, and Mary's going to, this is a little handout we put together so that you can give this out throughout the community. And it's just a thumbnail summary of the master plan, because not everyone wants to invest the time to read a 150-page document. But again, I think I hope you embrace the plan and use it to advance your recreation opportunities here in Prattville. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you. That was a good report, very brutal at times and very informative at times, so thank you for that one. Well, counselors, hope that you all were blessed over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. It's I know a lot of us have been, but
Just recently, we had a wonderful tree lighting event last night, and thank you all who came out. Thank you to the Parks and Recs, Public Works, Engineering, Police, Fire, and anyone else that helped to make the event so great. Our Christmas parade is scheduled for Friday evening at 7 p.m. The parade will begin again at the Tall County Courthouse. Hope to see everybody there. Way Off Broadway Theater is putting on a Christmas play, Merry Christmas, Dear Grandpa. Performances run from December 10th through the 20th. Prattville Pops and Community Chorus will hold their annual Christmas concert on December the 11th. Please check the city website for all these details and so many more. And Mr. President, that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Does any council members have any questions or comments for the mayor at this time? Thank you, sir. Now we have special committee report from the council. Councilor Striplin?
No, sir.
Councilor Brown?
No, sir.
Councilor Starnes?
No, sir.
Councilor Whiteside?
No, sir.
Councilor Bowles?
No, sir.
Councilor Boone?
No, sir.
With that, we have a report from status of city finances. Am I looking at the report?
That's not supposed to be on there. That's next.
Okay, then why is it on here?
It's good, Mr. K. It's good. We have enough for 1,000 trash cans.
Okay, joke of the day, I guess. With that, we're going into our agenda. We have a consent agenda. We have two items. One is a resolution to set a public hearing to declare various weedy lots to be a public nuisance and order their abatement per Title 11, Chapter 6-7 of the Code of Alabama, 1975 as amended. Second item is a resolution to set a public hearing to grant a restaurant retail liquor license to Coronillo Incorporated doing business as La Coronillo Grill. We have a motion to place these two items on a consent agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of placing these two items on a consent agenda signify by raising your right hand. And these items have been placed on the consent agenda. We have a motion to adopt the consent agenda. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Will be any discussion on either of these two items? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And the consent agenda is adopted. Our next item is an ordinance to adopt a proposed amendment to Article 4, Section 43, reapplication of the City of Prattville zoning ordinance. It was introduced on 11/3/2015. Will there be any discussion on this ordinance at this time? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this ordinance is adopted. The next item is an ordinance also to adopt a proposed amendment to Article 6, Section 63, swimming and wading pools of the City of Prattville zoning ordinance. This also was introduced on our 11/3/2015 meeting. Will there be any discussion from anyone at this time? All in favor of adoption signify by raising your right hand. And this ordinance is adopted. Our next item is a resolution to release funds for the purchase of 549.95 gallon garbage cans from Schaefer Industries through the H-GAC Purchasing Cooperative Contract Number GC01-03 for the Sanitation Department at a cost not to exceed $27,587.50. Councilor Striplin, will you read it, please?
Yes, sir. Whereas there is a need for 95-gallon garbage cans in the sanitation department, and whereas there is a price discount with the purchase of a truckload of 549 garbage cans, and whereas said garbage cans with the city logo are available through H-GAC Purchasing Cooperative Contract Number GC01-03 from Schaefer Industries at a cost of $48.50 per can, plus $961 in freight cost. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Prattville that said funds in an amount not to exceed $27,587.50 are hereby authorized and approved to be paid to Schaefer Industries for the purchase of 549 garbage cans, and funds are approved and appropriated from FY 2016 budget line item Sanitation Enterprise Fund Operating Supplies. So moved, Mr. President.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Be any discussion on this resolution? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. And this resolution is adopted. At this time, we'll take comments from persons present. Anyone wishing to make comments on any item outside of tonight's agenda? Mayor, you have any closing comments?
Yes, sir. Just want to thank the council for all their hard work and all of our city employees. I think the city of Prattville is looking very, very well at this point in time, and I think it's a blessing to all of us citizens that live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Striplin? No, sir. Councilor Brown? No, sir. Councilor Stearns? No, sir. Councilor Whiteside? No, sir. Councilor Bowles? No, sir. Councilor Boone?
Yes, sir. On behalf of the Parks and Rec Committee, I'd just like to thank Lowe's and Associates and all of their staff for their hard work. Very thorough presentation. Thank you so much for that. And we really appreciate all the food for thought and the direction you've given us. I'm sure that we will digest this in our own time and do what's best for the city. So thank you for your direction.
Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you all for coming out. As always, thank the city employees, thank the mayor and his administration and council members for what you are trying to do to help take this city forward. As always, I encourage you to agree to disagree. With that being said, I'm calling the Finance Committee meeting. We have many items that are on the table that we need to discuss. As the mayor has alluded to, for the Tuesday, 12/8/15 at 9:30 a.m. in the annex if it's available. That's Finance Committee meeting Tuesday, 12/8/15 at 9:30 a.m. If there be no other comments, we'll ask that we have a motion to adjourn.
Move.
We move to adjourn. We have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.